Why are your eyes bothering you?
Oh, well, I've been taking allergy stuff, but we've just been spending so much time with the windows open and
Yeah.
working in the yard and under the house and
Yeah, you
top of
spend
the
a lot of time
house.
under the house,
Yeah, it's dusty down there.
working on the water softener and
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah, well, you got to do something while you're out of town.
I was out of town again this weekend. I'm living the rock star life in the smallest possible way, but it's for real. So, let's go chronologically again.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
I wasn't
chronologically.
out of town on Friday.
Yeah. So we had a normal week with all the normal week stuff we do.
Really big teaching day on Wednesday, as usual.
Halves in rehearsal has been a normal part of my working in a new bass player there. Doing great.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, one of those guys who reads tabs.
I don't get
I do
reading
not
tabs.
see how that would help you at all. Tabs are where they like, it's not music or it's not charts where you have like, here's the bar lines and C chord, G chord.
Right.
It's like,
It's more like a picture of what you want to play and where you put your fingers.
yeah, and there's numbers for what fret you would put your,
It's just, it's got to be such slow reading.
like,
I mean,
yeah.
Here's a question though. For someone who reads tab, reading musical notation would be slow going. I wonder if you get fast at reading tab the way you get fast at reading music.
The way my software does tab, it has the 4 lines for the 4 strings of the bass guitar, for example, and then you put the numbers in for this is the fret where you would put your finger on this string or this string or this string, but it has normal note like bars and ties. So if it's eighth notes, it has the little eighth note ties. Or if it's a quarter and it has dots and it's like, so it's like a combination
It's like a
of the two.
hybrid.
Yeah.
Huh.
This
Okay.
is interesting to no one.
Okay.
Not even me, really.
All right.
Anyway, so we had our normal week, and then Friday, Cody was back from his big Costa Rica trip.
Yeah, Cody's back in town.
He was in Costa Rica for 6 weeks with the family and everything, and it was great to have him back. We rehearsed Tuesday, talking about the week, and then we had a big show, big kind of
Yeah.
homecoming show.
Yeah, on 29th Street in Boulder. So like what used to be Crossroads Mall, which no one is going to get the reference.
Right.
But I remember when 29th Street was Crossroads Mall. It was a dead mall. When I
Right.
first moved to Boulder, there were still a few stores open, and then within a few years, the entire thing closed down.
Oh, okay.
It was a
Yeah, I had no idea.
completely dead, closed shopping mall
Okay.
for a few years, and then they rebuilt it into the 29th Street Mall, which is really
And
nice.
and so now it's like one of those outdoor malls.
Right.
Where it's got big, concourse, kind of a couple courtyard areas, and then obviously all the stores, but you walk around outside. And the view behind us with the mountains, I wish I
yeah.
would have taken a picture. It was ridiculous that like we're standing in a shopping mall and looking at these mountains.
Flatirons.
The Flatirons, like
Yeah.
right there. I
Yeah.
mean, they looked like you could have just walked over there. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a lot further than that, but it always looks like they're like
They're very present.
looming over
They're very
you.
present in Boulder. Yeah, it's cool.
Gorgeous,
So
gorgeous.
how did you feel about the gig?
I thought it went fine.
You made some comments about my playing.
I thought your playing was, just a real improvement. I thought you sounded great.
Which is amazing
Yeah.
because I felt rusty. So we always kind of talk about how we felt about the gig on the
Yeah.
way home, which I don't recommend for new performers because it's too easy to critique yourself. But no, we're at the point where we can analyze the show right
Yeah,
after the
we're
show.
not going to get, yeah.
And I told you that I felt a little rusty because I have spent the last 3 months more using my brain more than my fingers.
Right,
doing
so
all
you're
the-
expanding into new ideas of playing and
Yeah,
new
getting all these
theory
charts
stuff
done and stuff.
and all the charts, yeah,
Yeah.
learning all those songs.
But I didn't do any agility exercises really.
Right.
I mean, it was a lot more brain and ear work than anything else. And so I felt a little physically rough.
Right.
But you gave me, let's see, here's the story. So on Tuesday at rehearsal, I wore earplugs just for safety. We're not particularly loud, but just for safety. And so that caused me to dig into the strings a little bit more because when I use earplugs, I lose the higher frequencies of the bass tone, which is what helps me define, like I can understand I can hear what I'm playing.
Yeah.
The low stuff gets really muddy for me, and it's hard to distinguish which note. Like if you're half step off, it's kind of hard to tell.
Right.
So I was digging in more at rehearsal, and you told me that it sounded good. So
I thought it sounded great.
what I did at the show was I turned my volume down a little bit compared to where it normally is, so that I would have to play a little bit harder. Not hard, but play a little harder. And I was like playing back to the bridge pickup a little bit more.
And that's what I was saying. You just sounded so. That was the compliment. You sounded so punchy.
Yeah.
And present, and there was this great dryness to it, which isn't really the right word. Like
a clarity.
A clarity, and a lot of times when people aren't really bass players, they'll tend to kind of like Charlie Brown teacher everything. So they're like playing the bass line, but it's like wah, 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 and they're just like running all the notes into each other.
Right.
And you've started to get this real feel where you're not. There's a little gap in between every note, so every note really like punches. Huh. It's like ba 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 ba. You know, it's not all wah wah wah.
Yeah.
And I was just really impressed with it. Like once or twice, I can't believe you didn't notice. Like I literally like walked over to your side of the stage. It was like,
oh, is that what that was about?
Yeah, I was like, dang, sounds
so
good over here.
I love that you only give me compliments when you mean them.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because it means a lot.
I try to only give people compliments when I really mean them, and I probably do notice what other people are doing more than most people, so I might have more. But I've literally started saying with people I coach or teach or all those things, I'm like, I will literally say, I am not trying to be nice to you. This is not a compliment, but I really like this or that. And just to clarify, like, I'm not telling you that because I'm trying to be nice or I'm trying to be even positive. I literally just mean I like what you're doing. Because so often people do, say all those things. Although we were talking about the musician joke. If I haven't mentioned it on this podcast, it would be amazing because it's like one of those things I always laugh about with people. Like there's this thing with musicians where when you think you had the worst night,
yes,
and you were rusty and you weren't feeling good, and I'm just not, oh my gosh, I'm just barely hanging in there. People will come up and be like, oh my God, great. You were amazing tonight. And you're like, what? And then the flip side of that is you will play that night where you're like, I've never played better. That's the best gig I've ever done in my life. I was literally on fire. I may never get that good ever again. And people are like, good show, man, good show.
Like the standard thing you say when you're saying goodbye.
Yeah, and just like, how did you not notice I've never played that well before in my life? And it just goes to show you that we are kind of terrible at, telling what it's like from the other side of it, And
so you concluded a long time ago that you don't play for anybody else, you just play for yourself.
I've gotten better and better, and I'm not always great. I try to give it up to the crowd. I'm going to gauge how you're enjoying things in terms of like, how I'm running my part of the show and am I going along on the solo. But at the end of the day, I'm going to let you decide if you liked it or you didn't like it, because I apparently can't tell. It's like how my grandmother was the best cook I've ever been around, and she didn't really enjoy her cooking and didn't think she was a good cook. And it would be like, are you kidding me? This is the most delicious thing ever. And she'd be like, I feel like I never figured that recipe out. And you're like, what are you talking about? It's just, you never know.
Yeah. Sometimes we're the worst judges.
Sometimes we are terrible judges. You got to give yourself some room, I think, to, not rely on your own judgments. But anyway, so that was Friday. Great crowd.
Oh, and you wanted to give a shout out to the sound guy.
Oh, I did. Tom. Gosh, I got to look up your production company. I thought he was just such a great sound guy.
Oh, chill. Yeah.
And we were just talking about, like, he sort of did what I used to do back in the old days. And again, he was wrong because we don't like our monitors, maybe how most people like our monitors. But rather than going person by person, he just sort of, like, put what he thought everybody wanted to hear and was like, why don't you just run a song and then tell me? And it just made it so much easier and low stress and, took so much less time.
Yes, it was
It
a
was
quick
so
sound check.
fast.
It was
So
easy.
Tom, thank you. That was great. The crew was great. You know, I mean, we're slightly different because, as we've talked about, and we were just talking about on the porch, our philosophy on monitors, maybe my philosophy on monitors. I don't know.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Because we always think the same about
Yeah, because we always
everything.
think the same. I want the minimum things in my monitor that I need to do my job.
Mm-hmm.
If something doesn't help me do my job, I don't want to hear it while I'm trying to perform. If, what was I saying? I just like...
You're saying you love Brian's playing.
I love Stax.
Yeah.
And I need to hear him with Cody, but with Petty Nicks, I don't need to hear him to do my job. If he's on, great. If he's not, which never happens, but if it ever did happen, I can't do anything about. Like, I'm not gonna
that
also.
will only screw you up.
It's only gonna screw me up, so it doesn't help me do the job. So I'm like, I tend to be like, I want to hear me, I want to hear hi-hat, and I want to hear the lead singers, and like even the other backup singers. Like, I don't need to hear
Not
harmony
relevant.
vocals. It's not relevant.
Yeah.
It doesn't influence me doing my job.
Yeah.
So, that's the only reason Tom didn't guess correctly is we tend to be a little like, a little
We're a little
weird about how we
unusual.
like it. But that was the show, and I gotta say again, great crowd, and people were, I was amazed how many people showed up. They were so excited that Cody was back and doing a show, and he has that fan base that just is thrilled to see him, and they were bummed it had been a while, and
Yeah. He's got an amazing fan base.
he really does. It was a great show. Love Greg Tan. Love the whole band. Everybody's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So
Let's move on.
yeah, that was
To the next
Friday,
day, yeah.
and then first thing Saturday morning, and I mean first thing.
Yep, I had a 6:30 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
So I
So
got
we did gig, drove back from Boulder.
right. And I went to bed and I got up at 4:45 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Went to the airport, flew to Dallas, met Concan. We hung out for a bit, and then we did a show at probably the biggest venue I have ever performed in, and probably ever will again, depending on what happens from here. But the Texas Trust CU Amphitheater. I took a video of just the lobby. I mean, it's stories upon stories
It's
high.
a huge, yeah.
The backstage, like I took a video of the backstage, like the people are ants.
Yeah.
Like if I go floor to ceiling, the floor to ceiling view, a person is like this big. It's enormous.
Yeah.
So big. But you
That's
looked
so
it up.
great.
I think you looked it up and it was like a 6,000 person venue.
Yeah, I think depending on how they seat it, it's 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, fun show. No sound check, but it really wasn't necessary for me.
And because you left so early, you weren't rushed for time this time. You had a little more.
Right. No, I was just
Yeah.
there hanging out all day.
Yeah.
I got a nap.
That was a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to do my best adding energy to the show as a side person. I sing choruses of 2 songs and some backups and play a lot of tambourine. I love the ribbons that I have on the tambourine for Petty Nicks. They add a lot.
Yeah.
They add a lot because I saw some videos of us this time and
And they're bouncing around.
they're present. I'm
Yeah.
like swinging them around and making circles and stuff. That's my tool. So, highlight was my cousin Abby and her husband Sean came out to the show
Yeah.
because they live about 15 minutes away.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
They got a babysitter and came out and saw the show, and I saw them afterwards. It was mainly just another great hangout. We hung out in the lobby. I was kind of like back and forth between the lobby and watching the show, just like hanging out with the band, taking pictures with fans, which there are so many fans. We took so many pictures with people.
I know. You were.
It was
yeah.
just constant and really fun. And then I would go back in and watch the show. And near the end, Wang Chung was the headliner again. And all 4 of us in the band were like up front, like 3rd row, I was like just constantly bouncing up and down. Because that music is fun. And it takes me back to a time where everything seemed simpler and more hopeful.
Yeah.
And I am going to tell Nick that next weekend when I see him from Wang Chung.
I'm sure that would mean a lot to hear.
Yeah.
And it was that time. I mean, yeah, it
Yeah.
did seem like.
I mean, that song is like, everybody around the world, everybody Wang Chung tonight. It's really low, but like the lyrics are like, everybody across the nation, around the world, like they're just big. Let's just have fun and party songs like that one, and let's go, baby, come on.
Right.
Just they're just like, hey, everybody, let's just have fun and dance. Is what these songs are saying. And
yeah,
that's what I did. I was like just jumping up and down, dancing.
You
and
followed
smiling.
instructions, yeah.
I followed instructions. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. Yes, sir. Everybody have fun tonight. Yes, I will. I had fun. And then backstage, there's a lot of hanging out going on there, in the hallways between the dressing rooms. And I had a moment to speak to Stacey Q, and I just wanted to tell her that she inspires me. Because she's been doing this for a long time. Her hits were in the early 80s, and she is still performing on a regular basis now, and she still has it. She is sexy, and her voice is great. She's got stage presence. And she said, oh, thank you. Stay right here. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And so she left, and she came back, and she gave me these glasses. These neon yellow cat eye sunglasses.
Those are not as crazy as...
They're pretty crazy.
They're pretty crazy, but you could wear those on stage at least.
Well, she was wearing them on stage.
Yeah.
And she gave them to me.
That's amazing.
I'm so special.
That's pretty... I mean,
pretty
what a
amazing.
cool thing. But, again, such a nice compliment. I mean, so often that's... yeah, I mean, there is that honest thing about this is just what I think.
Yeah.
Even if it is flattering... I'm just sharing my thought with you.
Yeah. Well, I'd been drinking.
Yeah.
Of
course.
I was feeling pretty free to say what I wanted to say.
I know. Did you get through 1.5 beers? Is that how far you got?
Is that all? No.
Yeah.
It was mostly just beers, though. It was pretty light stuff. So.
Yeah. And then what?
It was just like we just hung out for the whole show. Did I tell you about missing? No, I did mention Anton.
Anton was playing
for Missing Persons the week before.
Right.
Well, I heard about what rehearsal was like for him. So he was like, you guys. So he charted the songs. It's a 20-minute set. Charted the songs. And then it was like, okay, guys, can we just like talk through rehearsal? Like backstage, can we just be like, okay, so we're going to go goon chunk. And then you guys come in here. And he's like, I did that for like 10 seconds. And then they were like, yeah, you got it. And they're like, that's all we need. So he's like, I really need rehearsal with you guys. But they didn't want it at all. They're like, oh, you'll do fine. You'll do fine. And he went on and did fine.
Yeah. Seems they have more my attitude about rehearsal than...
Even a rehearsal, backstage, you're sitting and talking through it.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
But Missing Persons, I mean, so the drummer for Missing Persons was Terry Bozzio, who Bozzio is maybe top 10 rock pop drummers ever. He played with Frank Zappa for years and years. And that's a big seat to fill. I mean, Terry Bozzio hasn't been in that seat for a while, but still, that's not just who cares who the drummer is. That's like, he was one of the stars of that, you know?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I know, it's amazing.
And then, so you guys just hung out until they closed the venue down?
Yeah, we hung out till the end, and then we went back to the hotel, and we continued hanging out, kind of on that gig high.
That's what you do.
And then at 2:15 in the morning, I said, okay, guys, I'm going to sleep because I got to get up at 4. So I got up at 4 and caught a lift to the airport and got a 5:30 a.m. flight. Came home. I took 2 naps that day, totaling 5.5 hours of sleep. So I got all caught up. And then I had an evening rehearsal with Pamela Makala.
You are living the rock star lifestyle.
Totally.
And that is, by the way, how tired you felt? That's mainly what it feels like.
It's not about the gigs, it's about the travel and the hanging out and the not sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Pamela's got a new song called Nemesis, which is super cool.
Phenomenal.
It is really good. Production-wise, it's a departure for her. It's more electronic and it's darker. And I love it. When we played it live, I literally got goosebumps. I think everybody did. She said she did, and I did. Just the hair was rising on my arms. Like, this is so cool to be a part of.
I was going to text her. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to have heard the song or not.
I think it's fine.
Okay, maybe I will then, because I was like, I just wanted to say, like, I think it's such a cool, great song,
Yeah.
and but then I was only hearing it over hearing you rehearsing it.
Right.
It's obviously unreleased.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's finished.
No, it's just still a rough.
Yeah, but still.
It's really cool.
Yeah, but rehearsal went well.
Yeah, it was a new drummer actually. Oh shoot, I'm gonna.
So not JJ.
No, JJ is going on a long trip to Europe. I mean, I think a year. Like something really
Wow.
long. Like she's out of the band for a while. I mean, hopefully she'll come
Okay,
back.
yeah.
But Pamela asked the drummer of her favorite band in Colorado to play, and she said yes. And it's Mary Claxton of the Burrows.
Oh,
You might have heard of the Burrows. I don't know. I mean, I heard one of their songs on the radio today.
I've heard of them because Cody
Oh,
played with them and was raving about them.
okay, cool.
I think he maybe got up and did a song with them at the last Lafayette Music Festival or some version of that. I don't
Okay.
know. Cody knows them.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, they're apparently phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
they're great. She's great. It was
Oh, that's
easy,
so cool.
easy rehearsal. So
yeah.
So yeah, she just slid right in, and we've got a gig on September 9th. Gosh, we're all so busy that last Sunday was the only rehearsal we could find for like an entire month before the show. And that's going to be another 2-gig night, too. So it's the same night as the Stevie only gig with Petty Nick's Experience.
Oh my gosh. So you're doing one and then the other
I'm
one?
doing one, and I am grabbing my stuff and running
Wow.
to the other gig.
Oh my gosh.
So we have to figure out your transportation. 'Cause-
Yeah. Maybe I just won't do that gig.
Oh, okay.
We'll decide on the day.
All right, as usual.
Yeah. I like to keep my options open.
Always.
That's
Yeah.
that's pretty wild though. I mean, that's yet another and it is, you start trying to get together rehearsals or this or that and it just like, oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
why it blows my mind that one weekly thing I have with Half Zen, it is just one night a week.
It's constantly in the way.
It is constantly a problem.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable that, yeah.
Yeah, I was in a band one time.
Scheduling is just, yeah,
The first band that I played bass in a long time ago wanted to rehearse twice a week.
right.
And I had to put my foot down and be like, dude, I'm in other bands.
Yeah.
I was in Urban Dance Theory at the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which also, I think we rehearsed every other week, maybe?
We rehearsed anyway, but
Anyway. But
yeah,
two
that's-
nights a week,
yeah.
that's a commitment
yeah.
for a band that didn't have any gigs. But, I mean, there's different reasons to be in a band. You know, if you're just having fun playing and you just want to get together and play, and everybody wants to do 2 nights
Right.
a week, then great. I mean, the more the better.
Yeah. I think No Address at various times practiced 2 or maybe 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But
well,
we
you
were
guys were
obviously
prolific
doing, like, a
and you were
different-
taking it very seriously.
And we were doing a lot of songwriting. I
Yeah.
mean, you could call it practice, but really we were songwriting a lot
Yeah.
at that time. So, anyway. Gosh, well, I'm glad Pamela's thing went good, and I'm going to have to text her and tell her how
Yeah.
great I think that song is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told her I can't wait to hear that song on the radio. It's a radio song, in my opinion. I mean, she's a good songwriter in every respect anyway.
Oh, she's great.
But this one just has like a currency to it,
Yeah.
you know?
And there is that thing of, it doesn't work with every artist, but there is that weird thing where that one thing you do that's different.
Right?
I think it even stands out for the artist. And maybe that's why it pops out for the listener. It's just the one you do that's like a little different. And so you just have a little different energy behind it or something.
Yeah.
There's so many examples of bands whose like one hit song is not really what they do
Right.
other than that.
Right.
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and cut and move on with our lives. Thank you guys again for listening. I should mention that I am doing the live AD streams, the artist development live streams is probably a better way to say it. That is 7 o'clock on Wednesdays, Denver time. It's going to be 9 o'clock East Coast, and of course 6 o'clock California. Thank you, people are watching, and I really, really appreciate that so much. Again, if you want to jump on live, that would be great. If you want to just comment on the videos, it is on YouTube, it is on Instagram, and we're going to get those into like a playlist thing soon. And I just really appreciate people watching, and I see the numbers and I see the comments, and it's just really appreciated.
That's really nice of you to just give this knowledge away. You know, you're just sharing, you're answering questions that are common things that come up when you work with clients.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
putting it out there. That's pretty cool.
I mean, the last one we did, if anybody didn't see it, was about something we talk about all the time, the great advice I got from my uncle that you just suck until you get good. and the truth of that as an artist, where you just have to start doing something and keep doing it, and it'll get where it needs to be. Like, it's not going to get there otherwise. And then the other half of the live stream, I just demonstrated how to use a mic stand, because I constantly see people not understand the couple of places where you adjust a mic stand and move it to different heights. And we talk about all this performance stuff, and then people don't understand just the basics of how to manipulate a mic stand, which, gosh, just even having that knowledge, that's just one point of stress about getting on stage and being on stage, to just be able to, I mean, you know, at showcases or showcase rehearsals, and people are like, oh, I need to move it, and I just can't even, and their mic stands are simple. You just, once you know, you know. So, you know, it's a mix of some more philosophical stuff and some more just those concrete knowledge things of like, this will help if you're a music person. And anyway, I just appreciate the chance to do it and really enjoying it. So let's wrap it up. What are we gonna? We are, as always, sponsored by Performance High
Voice and Music Studio.
You got two hands on that one. And we're also sponsored by the concept of travel,
which I'm doing a lot of lately. I'll be heading to San Diego for the 4th of 4 shows in this tour.
in a month.
Yeah, 4th
Along
of 4
with
in a month, but
everything-
I'm heading there this weekend.
Yeah,
So.
this weekend.
Yeah.
So, do you like where you are? Would you like to be somewhere else?
Travel. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.